is Becky. You can find me on the internet as @BeccyKnits in most places. I will leave links in the description box down below to all of my social medias and anything else that I talk about today. So it has been a while. I meant to check how long it's been since my last video and I forgot to do that. So it's been a while. I think probably at least 3 months, maybe a bit more. And yeah, it's probably been about that long since I've really been knitting anything. I think at the end of the summer I just kind of burnt out a little bit on knitting, and I also took up a new hobby which I will talk a little bit about at the end. So there has not been very much knitting, there has not been a lot of sewing until really the last couple of like days, or like the last sort of week or two. I have just started getting back into my knitting, and yeah, I've still not dusted off the sewing machine, but I have plans to make a draft excluder, so hopefully the sewing machine will see some use, because if you have been here a while you will know that and if you watch my sewing videos you'll know that I got a new sewing machine in the summer, and I have definitely not used it to its like full extent. I used it to make an art piece which I submitted to an exhibition. It wasn't accepted, sadly, but I used it for that, so it has had some use, but definitely not enough use to justify having bought it. So so yeah, I kind of feel like I'm a little bit out of practice at this, so we'll just kind of see how it goes. Forgive me if I'm a little bit looking over there. I'm also like old school with my notes because, well, so I'm old school with my notes because my iPad ran out of battery, and I forgot to put it on charge, but also I haven't actually written any notes, so I'm going to be like jotting down what I talk about as I go, so that I can put links to things in the description box below. So I hope that 2023 is treating you well so far. I hope that 2022 was kind to you. We didn't have a great 2022 when we sort of like, at the end of the year we had like a whole load of rubbish occurring and it really made us look back and think, actually 2022 not a great year anyway, but hopefully 2023 will be better, and I hope that your 2023 has started off well. Let's talk about works in progress. I don't have anything that I finished that I can show you. I think I finished a pair of socks that you might have seen, but I don't know which pair it was, and I don't know where they are. So I'm just going to show you what I'm working on now, and we'll just kind of start afresh. The thing that is closest to being done is a pair of socks that I started on Christmas Eve. There's this pair. Got the sun coming in at an awkward angle. This pair. The colourway is Land of Sweets from a Homespun House. Is that right? Yep, Land of Sweets from a Homespun House, and this was the like big skein in Molly's 2022 advent calendar. I was very excited to get the advent calendar this year because it's something that I have wanted to do for years, and then last year I finally did it, and it's so beautiful. I haven't decided what I'm going to do with it yet. I think it's going to be a blanket, but I haven't decided yet. So, and here is the second sock. So I'm into the foot. I've done my it's just a plain sock, and then I did the fish lips kiss heel as I usually do now. So into the foot. I'm hoping yeah, hoping to have enough time today to get a good portion of this knit up, maybe finish it. I think that might be pushing it, but I would really love it if I could finish it. I would like it to be done by the end of the weekend is my goal. So yeah, and then what else am I working on? This has had quite a bit of work. This one's been around for quite a while, probably like 2 years, and it has not grown enough considering that it's 2 years old, but I did put some work into it, and I am really loving how it is turning out. This is just a garter stitch blanket that I have no idea how many stitches I cast on, I can't remember, but I'm just knitting back and forth, changing colours every like 13 ridges I think, and yeah, I really like how it turns out. I'm using maybe a size 4 or a size 5 needle, I can't remember. I don't even know if I've linked anything about this in my Ravelry, so I don't know. I'll if I haven't, I'll make a project page and I'll put all the details in there. But I am using my Christmas in July advent calendar from 2021, and it was from The Lonely Knitter. So it's 12, I just found a little stitch mark on the bottom of my bag. How cute, little snowman on a sledge. It's from Simply Serving. Yeah, so I think there were 12 colours, so we'll see how big that is. I'm not sure how big it's going to turn out. I don't really want to add colours from outside of the advent calendar, but we'll see how big it is. I might have to, but I just like how these colours work with each other. It's not a fade. I just like how they work together, and it kind of feels like I don't know, I feel like it would be weird to add just a couple of different colours and they wouldn't necessarily be the same sort of shades and things, so but we'll see. I don't know. So that's kind of, I'm kind of enjoying just working on that here and there. It's really mindless knitting, just garter stitch for rows and rows and rows. And then the last thing that I'm working on a lot is a crocheted blanket. I'm really feeling blankety at the moment. I just can't stop thinking about blankets, and I just want to make loads and loads of blankets. So I am planning a blanket. How many times can I say blanket? I'm planning a crochet blanket that is based on a blanket that my dad's mum made, that I have like vague memories of from when I was really little, and we don't really know what happened to it. We think it probably just didn't make the cut in a house move, but it was I remember it being a really nice blanket. It was just a big granny square, the kind of thing that you just keep adding round and round and round, and I want to recreate it as best as I can. Thank you.
Like tea delivery.
In an appropriate mug as well. But I want to finish something else before I start that. I've got 3 blankets on the go, or 4 blankets on the go at the moment. One of them is like, it's a granny stripe scrappy blanket. I think it's like a cast on basically, or do you call it a cast on if it's crochet? Like a long chain? Yeah, anyway. I've not done very much on that, so that one doesn't count. And then I've got my Cozy Memories blanket, which I don't think you can see. It's in my basket over there. I haven't done any work on that recently. And then I've got my garter stitch blanket. And then I've got this one. And I think I might have shown you this before, but it is just lots of squares. Like I've got over 200 squares. And they're all colourful. The solid colours are from leftovers from a kit that I got quite a few years ago to make the Attic 24 granny stripe blanket. So that's what all of these are. And then I've got a couple of random colourful like variegated yarns. This one I bought while I was in Canada, and I have no idea what this one is. No idea at all where I got this one from, but there we have it. So yeah, I've got loads of those, and then I'm just going around them in white. This has gotten very messy. I'm on the last bits of that. Going around the outsides in white so that they're all because I've got the solid ones I'm doing like this. I don't know what this is called, this style of square, but then the ones that are like variegated I've done as a granny square, but I wanted them all to be the same around the outside, so I've gone round to make them all the same around the outside, and then I'm joining them in squares like 3 by 3, and then there's gonna be so many ends to weave in on this, but I don't care. See, some of them can just be cut, but I don't think it's ever gonna happen. But then I'm joining them in like 3 by 3 to make a square, and then joining them to each other like that. So so this is how wide it's going to be. I don't know how wide that is. 9 squares wide. Because I think that's going to be a nice, it'll be nice for on the sofa, is what I'm going for. I thought about it being like a bed throw, but it'll be nice for on the sofa, or depending on how big it gets, like how long, I could put it on like a child's bed. But I kind of feel like I would feel bad if one of the children got one and one of them didn't, because I'm not going to have enough squares to do 2. So yeah, so that's where we're up to on that. So the progress on this has been made in the last week. I think it was even like Sunday last week. It's Friday now. Sunday of last week I just sat down and I had a good number of them already like bordered, and I just joined them up. So it's been quite quick. Now that I know what I'm doing with it, it's coming on quite quickly. So I've got a little project bag. Oh, I know I'm out of practice because I've not been showing you my project bags. Sorry about that. This is from my Homespun House and Knitting Unicorns. And in here I've just got a square's worth of little squares. So I'll just border them all and then make strips and then make the square. And then once I've got 3 squares, I'll put them all together and then I'll attach it to the blanket. So there we go. So that is what I'm working on mostly at the moment. I have got this little cake of yarn sitting here. Sorry, the sun is making it very difficult for me to show you things. Oh, beautiful yarn cake. This is, I believe it's called Tropical Fish now. It wasn't called Tropical Fish when I bought it. It was called Confetti. It is from Skein and the Stitch. And this is the leftover ball from my Sorrel t-shirt. So It is a beautiful, how do I describe it? There's like some light greens and like pinks. There's some like flashes of purple and orange and yellow in there. It's really pretty. It definitely is like, makes me think of fish now that she's sort of changed the name of it to tropical fish. It definitely makes me think of that. I don't know if it's a colourway that she still sells, but yeah, so I've got one ball left and I think I'm gonna turn it into a pair of socks. So that's sitting around. I just like it. I don't have any, other than the ones I'm working on right now, I don't have any plain socks on the go. They've all got some kind of pattern, but I think I'm going to make that another patterned pair. Maybe do String of Lights by Sock Witchery, because I quite like a String of Lights. I have got at least one pair of socks, String of Lights, going that I'm kind of working on here and there, but they're very dark. Are they around? I don't know where I've put them, but they're very dark colourway, and I want something a bit brighter to work on at the moment. So so I might cast this one on as String of Lights, and then definitely once I've finished my Land of Sweets socks, I will definitely be casting on another plain pair, because I'm just kind of, I'm accepting that as much as I like patterned socks, I need to have a pair of plain socks on the needles all the time. I'm now going to show you just how addicted to tea I am. I had a cup of tea delivered, but I'm still drinking this one, so. And I don't care. This one's getting a bit cold now. Oh, I feel like I'm slouching back now, so I'm going to move you a bit closer. Let's snuggle in and get a bit more. There we go. So I know a lot of people are doing like goals, and I haven't written a single note down on my notebook, by the way, so I'm just going to move that. I know a lot of people are setting like goals and thinking about the year ahead and what they're going to do with their knitting and crafting and things like that. I watched 2 videos yesterday. One was from Nitty Natty and one was from Kay of the Crazy Sock Lady, and they've both got very different outlooks for the year. Nitty Natty is trying to like get rid of all of her scraps and like use up all of her scraps, and I know that last year she managed to reduce her stash down, so she's got like no stash, and then Kay's sort of aim was just to knit what makes her happy, and I feel like I'm very much in the Kay camp on this one. I feel like I really like setting myself goals. I really like making plans and like trying to, yeah, set myself challenges and things like that. But then it actually has the opposite effect than what I'm going for, and it ends up just kind of killing my mojo. So this year I'm going to try and take the pressure off and just knit on what I want to knit on. And so, you know, if I have got like a goal or an aim or some sort of like development sort of like thing I want to achieve, it's more of a sort of personal development thing of just like letting go of the guilt and allowing myself to just work on what I want to work on in the moment, and to remind myself that it's just knitting, doesn't matter. I'm not like, you know, I don't owe anybody anything with it, you know, it's not my job. Sorry, I have to readjust my position. Yeah, I don't need to knit anything at all. So, you know, apart from just needing to knit for my own sanity, I don't need to knit at all. So it doesn't matter if I start a new pair of socks, even though I've got 6 other pairs of socks on the go. It doesn't matter if I'm really close to finishing a pair of socks, but I decide I want to knit on a blanket for 6 weeks. It doesn't matter. Yeah. And that is something that I just really need to allow myself to do. And I think in doing that, I will also finish more, because there are nights when I sit on the sofa and I think I'm so close to finishing that pair of socks. If I just knit on that, then they'll almost be done, and then I can knit on something else and not feel guilty about it. But then I end up sitting with the socks on my knee, and that's not what I want to knit, and so I don't knit on them, I just hold them. And it's like, well, if I just allowed myself to crochet on a blanket or knit on a blanket or knit something else, then I would have made progress on another project, which would have taken that project closer to completion. So yeah, I think I am I think the kind of knitter that I am is changing. I very much used to be a product knitter, and I just wanted things to be finished, and I found that I often gave up on projects because I wasn't enjoying the process of knitting them, and I just wanted the thing at the end, and I was just like so focused on having the thing, and I would often either give up on a project, or in the end the finished item would not fit me, or wouldn't actually be a colour that I liked, or something like that, because I was just not prepared to take the time to enjoy the process and the whole process of like knitting a swatch and all of that kind of thing. And so I was ending up with things that I wasn't really liking. Whereas now I think that I am becoming a bit more of a process knitter, and in some ways that means that, well, I have my desires for things that I want to knit have changed. I want to make blankets and I want to make socks. And I like the idea of making jumpers, but right now I just don't want to make jumpers. I don't want to make tops or anything like that. Literally, all I want to make is socks and blankets. And like, yeah, again, it comes the guilt. I'm thinking like, oh, but I haven't made anything for my children in like so long. Like I should make them a jumper, or I should make them something, a hat, something like that. And I just don't want to. I just want to knit socks, and I just want to knit blankets. And that's okay. So that's my not goal for 2023 is just to like no guilt knitting. I'm just gonna knit on what I want to knit on, knit what makes me happy. Life stuff. I don't know that there's anything that I really can talk about that's happened since last time we spoke. I know I said at the beginning that we had a pretty rough 2022. Yeah, we just had there was like a couple of health concerns for a number of people in our family and like our extended family, which obviously is just a worry that kind of lingers kind of even after you have like a resolution on those things. A little bit of worry I think still lingers, and particularly when a couple of people seem to have health concerns like in quick succession. You start to be like, what's next, what's coming next? Yeah, and we also had I lost my nan at the end of last year, which I had very mixed feelings about, and I think so she was my last grandparent. I lost all of my other grandparents before I sort of turned 15, I think, and so 2 of them I lost when I was very little, and then lost my other nan when I was about 13 or 14. And losing grandparents as a small child is a very different experience, because there's nothing for you to do when you're a child and you lose a grandparent. I was not expected to do anything at all, whereas this time the situation surrounding her death and us finding out was very odd, and then there was more expectation from myself to help with everything that happens after somebody passes away. So I felt like I was there more to support my mum and emotionally, and also I went to the house to help with clearing up stuff that is left after somebody dies. And so that was definitely a very different experience than my previous experiences with losing family members. So that was a bit weird. It hasn't been the most straightforward of processes, and it hasn't been it was all very strange. So that all sort of happened at the end of the year, or towards the end of the year. So that was a bit odd. We had work-related stresses in the sort of summertime, which had good and bad elements to them. And then as I say, health concerns for a number of people, quite a lot of personal growth, and some personal things that I will probably talk about a little bit at some point, but not today. Some personal growth, personal understandings that have kind of happened, so 2022 was a year of change and growth. But I would like 2023 to be a year of quiet and consistency. So I'm kind of coming into this year tentatively. I don't know if you've seen the meme where it was nobody claim 2023 as being your year, let's just quietly enter the room and nobody make any loud noises kind of thing. It's that's how I'm feeling about 2023. So I think that's kind of influencing my desire to not set myself any big goals. Things happened over the last year that threw plans and through plans really up in the air, and lots of things that were supposed to happen didn't happen, and things like that. So this year I think I just need to go with the flow, and it's not something that I'm very good at doing at all. I like to plan, but I think I need to practice some low expectations and mindfulness type things. So I feel like I got a bit deep at the end here. So that's where I'm kind of at with stuff. So with that, I'm not promising that I'm going to be back every week, not promising that I'm going to be back every month, but I wanted to come and catch up a little bit. I had some really nice messages at times when it was really I feel like this happens a lot, and you see people say this a lot, you know, at a time when the person sending me the message couldn't possibly have known that I needed to hear what they had to say, and they, you know, appeared in my inbox to say some really lovely things. And yeah, it's just, sometimes it's nice how the world works. So yeah, I had some really lovely messages, and I miss sitting and talking to you about my knitting and interacting with you in comments and interacting with you over on Instagram. I know I kind of occasionally just drop out of Instagram and seem to fall off the face of the earth, but that's me. Yeah, but I am around again on Instagram, so if you are over there, then come over and say hi. And yeah, I do like to keep in touch on Instagram and things like that. So there we go. So that's what I'm working on. That's, yeah, how my 2023 is looking as of the 20th of January. January always feels so long. It's like suddenly, like, the year seems to disappear, and then January hits and suddenly it's like, oh my god, are we only 20 days in? I feel like it should be March already. But then next time I talk to you, it'll probably be Christmas again. So yeah. So anyway, I'm going to move on now to this cup of tea, which is hopefully warmer than my other cup of tea. And I will say thank you for watching, and I will see you next time.